Hello, Aries. Thank you so much for watching. If you don't have a chance or haven't had a chance, I put together a small intro video just sort of introducing myself and kind of what I'm doing here and how I do it. And essentially what I do is I'm going to do 2 readings for you. The first is going to be a love focus for November 2015. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to do a general focus for you. So you'll get both with this one video. I've been shuffling for a while. I do 9 card spreads, and I talk a little bit more about that in my intro video, and then I pull one sort of final card to sum up the reading. And I've been shuffling for a while now, but I'm going to keep shuffling a little bit more. So this first reading is going to be your love focus for November 2015 for Aries. Aries love focus, November 2015. Aries love focus for November 2015. Here we go. Okay. And I know you might not be able to see these, so I will hold up all the cards for you, but I'll also, if I can, put an image before the reading so that you can see the cards that I pull as well. But just to quickly let you know, 9 of Pentacles, 4 of Cups, King of Swords, Justice, the 9 of Cups, the Sun, 6 of Cups, the Lovers, and 8 of Wands. So here we go. Okay. I like to go into directly into the center of the reading. Not always the energies speak that way. Sometimes it'll be another card that jumps out right away. But with this card, or with this reading, immediately you have a 9 of Cups, smack dab in the center. You know, this is ultimate emotional fulfillment. It's sort of like showcasing your trophies, not because you are so proud of the trophies themselves, but because of all of the hard work, all of the, the willpower and teamwork, and all of the, perseverance that you went through to attain those. And it's personal satisfaction, being very happy with everything you've accomplished, and just being very satisfied emotionally. It's an emotional fulfillment card. Which, is a little bit interesting because it's right here adjacent to your 4 of Cups. I typically like to think of this card as, boredom or dissatisfaction. It's going from, disinterest, not being interested in what's going on, or what's being presented to you, the options that you have. In some card, I don't know it necessarily, but in some decks this is a willow tree, which represents sorrow and sadness, and the weeping willow, if you will. I immediately see 2 characters in this reading as well, 2 people. the Nine of Pentacles doesn't always represent a person, but you do have the King of Swords here. I guess that this is more of your energy here, not necessarily a person, but the Nine of Pentacles is your energy, Aries. I feel like you're kind of at a point in your life where you feel, maybe materialistically satisfied, and that you're perhaps looking for something a little bit more. Maybe your career is doing well, things are fruitful for you. You're at a position in your life where materialistic things are coming together for you. Your career is going well. Your bank accounts might be doing well as well. Things are fruitful. You are satisfied in that way. Let's see. The King of Swords I see as a character in this. This is maybe representative of a person. It is a man or woman, a mature, very intelligent, philosophical person, air sign potentially. It's a man that you very much respect, someone that. Okay, so with the cards, the swords kind of are representative of the military class back in medieval times, right? So a more militant type of character, maybe not the most nurturing, the most warm-hearted or inviting, still could be a fatherly type of figure for you, or someone that you could see, being the father of your children, if you will, or the mother, but very emotionally mature nonetheless. Put together, you know, it's someone that enjoys bringing justice to the world, someone that enjoys fairness and being rewarded for the things that you have accomplished, which goes perfectly with your Justice card. Actually, these cards are very, very similar. Oh, sorry, that's my cat. These cards are very similar in that you have someone sitting in a throne, looking straight at you, both holding a sword upright. And the Justice card holding a scale, the scale of justice. So this could be someone that is, very adamant about equaling the scales. Someone that's very adamant about, if he's going to be putting in the work, or she, if they're going to be putting in the work, you should also be putting in the same amount of work. It is about balance. It is about coming together to an agreement, looking at all sides, analyzing what you did wrong, what they did wrong, what is going wrong. And if this is a potential partner, if you're in a relationship, this could be your partner. And if you are dating or looking at someone new, maybe this is someone that feels, maybe they're putting in a little bit more work than you, or maybe you're the one putting in a little bit more work. Although I have a feeling it's probably mostly this person. Maybe they're a little bit more interested in you, and maybe they're a little bit more interested in you. I mean, here you are, showing some sort of disinterest towards them. Maybe they're not exactly what you were expecting. Maybe you wanted someone a little bit more romantic, or you wanted someone a little bit more well put together financially, or whatever the thing is. So maybe this is your attitude toward them. However, if you hold on, let me move my cat really quick. She's sitting on the cards. There you go, baby. Okay. Where was I? So anyway, if you're showing some sort of level of disinterest towards them, so you're not even looking at them, you're looking the opposite way, and maybe just more focused so much more on your own career, or your own whatever have you, that maybe you aren't necessarily paying attention. However, if you are paying attention, or if this is your partner and you do come to some sort of an agreement, you do sort of work out some differences that you might have, ultimately, I mean, followed immediately, you have the Nine of Cups and the Sun, which the Sun is ultimate bliss. It's, childlike innocence. It's happiness, um, like where nothing can go wrong with the world. And that kind of brings you down to your last row here, which is also a very, very positive card, a very positive cards. I'm going to actually couple the Six of Cups with your Sun card, because to me these cards are very complementary. You have the Sun with the children, with the child riding a pony in the field of sunflowers. I mean, how much more of a fairy tale do you get than that? But also something reminiscent of childhood, um, naive happiness. This is the times of when, you and that girl or little boy you had a crush on would run through the playground and slay the dragons and be so imaginative and so just lost in your own world that nothing could stop you, and your imagination was just absolutely, endless, infinite options, infinite. um, there was no limit to where your heart could take you. And again, those cards coupled with the Lovers, it shows an incredibly strong bond. A bond that's just almost unbreakable, something that is just coming together of two unstoppable forces, if you will. It's unbound love, infinite love, which goes with the infinite range of imagination with this card here. And I think, for the month of November, it's all just gonna maybe happen so fast, swift energy. I feel like this card, in the movies or the cartoons, when there's an army and, all the warriors stand up at the top of the hill and they all fire their bows and arrows at the exact same time, and then they show the other army that's getting attacked, and all these arrows just come barreling over I feel like that's the type of energy that this card has. It's just this strong, swift force that just bolts forward, and you cannot stop it. And I love this card with this reading. I think it's so lovely. Swift action, swift movement, and to have it just directly after the Lover's card is just like this incredibly romantic merging of these fantastic forces, which is you, Aries, a fire sign that's so just such a lovely energy, moving forward always, and just ready to go at a moment's notice, coupled with someone who is so strong and so intelligent, and I think it's really, really great if you can work out your differences. I think it might be important that you do. And again, this might not be an air sign. It might be someone that just has these types of qualities in your life. A love reading can carry over into so many different elements. It can carry over into friendships and even possible business relationships as well. But, for the sake of this reading, it is a more romantic interest that you might have. And I do feel like this is someone that is a part of your life. I don't feel like it's someone new coming in, maybe someone you have an existing relationship with, where there was maybe just a little bit of struggle or a little bit of maybe a short phase, if you will. Maybe a short phase of you thinking, I'm not going to deal with this. Maybe just isn't really for me. But then you do work out your differences, and the scales the scales are balanced, and once you do that, it's just an unstoppable wave of positive things that happen for you. I mean, to have the Lover's card and the Sun card, even for me, these two cards are very similar. They both have the sun. You know, there's flowers on either side. There's a level of innocence to both cards, if you will. This is an incredibly powerful attraction, sexual attraction, and even intellectual attraction as well. I mean, especially with an air sign like this. Yeah, I think this is really, really great. And in my intro video, I'll mention this as well. I don't do reversals. I have found that doing reversals, you know, if you're meant to pull a reversed card, then you would just pull a different card if it wasn't reversed. So I might start incorporating reversals next month. However, I prefer all right side up cards just for my own personal taste. This might not necessarily be love related, but I'm going to bring this up as well. I'm seeing your Nine of Pentacle cards adjacent to your Justice cards. I feel like you might be getting things that are coming to you, not necessarily, you know, in a love capacity, but even in a career capacity. I feel like you are getting what you deserve. And that's why a Nine of Pentacles and not anything less. That's why you are this queen of this beautiful garden, and you're tending to nature, and you have fruit growing from your vines. I think it's of all the hours and all the things that you have done, you are finally at a place where you feel secure in that area, which enables you to open up your heart and to really encompass, you know, the idea of even potentially a family. You know, I have two cards with children here, two cards with youth and innocence, and, you know, coupled with the Lover's card, I think that family could at least be, you know, you could be talking about a family, and you could be moving in that direction very, very quickly. To have this card at the end of your reading means not only swift action toward the things that are happening in the reading itself, but also toward the future, moving forward into a whole new phase of your life and your relationship, or your potential relationship. You know, if you're not in an established bond, I think you might find these types of qualities or these types of conversations, you know, to go well with someone new that's coming into your life. Or if you're open to meeting someone new, maybe, you know, you find that you connect with someone on this level. You might find someone that is on the same track as you. You're running parallel, you know. It's like the steel rod or the steel of a train track, you know. You're running in the same direction, and you're working together toward a common goal. So, all right, I'm going to pull up the options card here. Or, I'm sorry, the outcome, not the options. It was really quite a great reading. I don't always get to pull such wonderful cards, Aries. The outcome. outcome for Aries, November love. The moon. I mean, right off the bat, you have the sun and the moon. You have wonderful blessings ahead of you, but it's scary. It's uncharted territory. It's maybe something you've never done before. Maybe you are having an emotional connection with someone that you have just never experienced before. It might be incredibly intense. It might be, there might be edges to their sword that you're not used to. It might be, the idea of connecting and having such a strong connection with someone is scary. It's becoming vulnerable. It is a change in your life. It is a significant change. And when an attraction is so strong, and when an attraction is maybe even so overwhelming and happens so quickly, sometimes we do retreat, we do react in, this type of fashion. We do disregard it and write it off as being something, that we don't know if we want, or we're disinterested, or like we don't care, as purely a reaction to our own hang-ups and our own fears and our own emotional baggage, which we all have. Honestly, I see this card, this moon card, as more of a warning. If you don't have a family already, or if you aren't, married, and the idea or the possibility of a relationship heading in that direction towards family and children, that could be very scary. If you are married or in an established bond, and you are sort of coming to this sort of reconciliation or this balancing act, maybe you have had to compromise in ways that is new for you, or you are having to give up something that you aren't necessarily so happy with, or you're having to do something that you maybe aren't so happy with. And that's okay. I think it's okay. It's a nice compliment, actually, to the sun. It's a celestial, the sun, the moon, and the star, the three cards, and I think it's a good thing ultimately. But I don't see any reason for you to be afraid. To have that type of relationship and that attraction with someone is really actually a very good thing. I see a lot of blues in your cards. You have light blues here up at the top, and then you go into the deep, rich blues and yellows. And blue, is serene and calm, and yellow is excitement and new opportunity. And it's the sun illuminating your path. It's the moon illuminating your path. Even though it is a moon, it's still bright and it still projects light. And even though you might have some scary creatures in your path, ultimately your path is lit and you will find your way through it. So, very wonderful reading. I think that's a really, really great start for my monthly reading. So thank you, Aries. I'm actually going to just hop up really quick and take a quick picture so I can incorporate it in the video so you can see the cards better. And then I'm going to shuffle. Okay, and then we're going to do a general reading, which isn't necessarily focused on anything other than more just your path for the month of November. If anything comes up that you might need to be aware of, or anything like that. Okay, let's do a reshuffle here. Aries, November 2015, general focus. There is anything. Sometimes these cards do not like to be shuffled, and other times they shuffle right up. And this time we're getting a really good shuffle. Sometimes this is the giant deck, so it's kind of a bigger, little bit too big, I think, but I wanted the large so you could see a little bit better. And I've found sometimes they just like to stay in their current position. So anyway, okay. General focus, Aries, November 2015. This one. Oh my goodness. Okay. You have a lot of wands and a lot of swords in your general focus. It's actually quite of an opposite reading from your love focus, which is very interesting. I'll go ahead and read these off, but again, I'll have the picture uploaded as well. The Tower, the Seven of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Five of Wands, the Six of Wands, Ten of Swords, Nine of Swords, Three of Cups, and your Page of Wands. Okay. In my last reading, I started right in the center. However, you do have one major arcana in this reading, which I'm going to just go straight to that because it's your first card that I pulled, which is the Tower. So, Tower is not necessarily a bad thing. It is some sort of sudden change, some sort of new direction. It could be, you know, what's the saying? The higher they rise, the harder they fall. It could be some sort of blow to your ego or some sort of external change that could be really related to almost anything. I'm not seeing coins or cups other than the one cup here. So I don't think this is, you know, necessarily career or relationship oriented. But it could be something internally that you're dealing with. That's why I say the higher they rise, the harder they fall. There might be some sort of issue with your ego, or something might be brought to your attention quite abruptly, something that you maybe won't like so much, that might immediately put you on the defensive. This is a card, you know, this is honestly a card of protecting what's yours, holding fast and protecting your land, and you're being subjected to things. There's some sort of an attack towards you, but you're a fighter, Aries. You fight it off. You'll be fine, but just keep in mind that ultimately, whatever this situation is, or whatever this situation is referring to, could bring you to some sort of of victory or some sort of sense of clarity. Maybe someone is bringing something to light that you already know, but just haven't quite admitted it to yourself. Um, Two cards in this reading that sort of represent victory: your Ace of Swords and the one in the center of the reading, which is your Six of Wands. But keep in mind, this Six of Wands, it's a lovely card. It's a good card. It's, you know, a warrior being cloaked with, or being adorned with the laurel wreath, which is a good thing. But this is just merely one battle in the war. One battle that you've won, but there will always be more. Okay, so it's not always, you know, indicative of, you won, you had victory. This is, I feel like this is going to be some sort of an argument. I see the Five of Wands here. So you go directly from a Five of Wands to a Six of Wands. So it's the natural progression here. And honestly, just from the image aspect of it, you have youths, teenagers sort of play fighting. They're practicing for war. They're not playing with swords. They're playing with sticks. They're, maybe attacking each other, and you see how messy all of the wands are, going in all sorts of different directions. And then with the next card in progression, the cards are, or the wands are sort of straight up, maybe a little bit more organized, which means could go through some sort of an argument, some sort of a mess, but you do sort it out. You do, eventually get all those wands pointing in the same direction. Excuse me. You do eventually get those wands on the same path, or on the same lines. And you have your Ten of Swords and your Nine of Swords. The Ten of Swords is often, a sense of you're really just so overwhelmed. You're so tired. You're just so, just done with whatever it is that you're kind of going through. Like I said, you might win the battle, but you haven't quite won the war, type of thing. Just something that is draining you. It's killing you softly. It's, this is a process card. It's long time. I mean, both of these really are. I mean, you can see the harsh colors, the darks, the blacks. You even have the tower, which is very dark and black, and with the blues, and, the bright yellows that represent, the lightning in this card. It's something very sudden that happens. But whereas the tower is fleeting, it is a flash of lightning or a flash in the pan. It comes and goes very, very quickly. These cards it takes a long time to get rid of these cards, or to get rid of the swords that are represented, the thoughts, the mental anguish, the emotional exhaustion that you have. These thoughts literally keep you up at night. They cause insomnia. They're stabbed directly through your back and through your mind. They're all pointing in one direction, and they're all you can think about. There might be a little bit overwhelming. With your Ten of Swords, they're just causing you to maybe give up. It's interesting, this reading coming directly after a love reading that was so positive and so just so warm and lighthearted, and then to have this reading directly after. I don't know exactly what you're going through, Aries, but it seems like there is some very heavy stuff And it's possible this could be relating to the Justice card that came up in the last reading, and that King of Swords. Um, if you don't have, again, this is general, so I don't want to necessarily pull it back to that last reading. However, when you are going through something like that and you are, causing yourself to compromise, or, that justice could have been because of a battle, because of a victory on your part, that you did win something, but you had to fight for that. You fought for whatever it was that was going on. I think you defended yourself. You were, the Justice card is all about give and take, and I don't think that card showed up on accident. I think that was, there are compromises that must be made. And those compromises are probably something that you don't really like, or that they're coming out of a situation that has just like been eating you alive almost. That there's really just something that you just are so unhappy with, and it is being acknowledged. Again, it is being acknowledged. You do come to this point of clarity, a new beginning, a new idea, a new way of thinking, which is great. And I feel like this is actually maybe the hope that you have for clearing up any sort of misunderstandings, is that whatever argument you make, or whatever, whatever you do to or say to get this victory here, will bring clarity to you and to those around you. So those around you. At the end of the reading here, I do see your Three of Cups, and I do see your Page of Wands, which is good. Again, this is just November. It is a short-term reading. It's not like, the end-all be-all of your life. Your Three of Cups, threes are ruled, if you will, by the three major arcana, which in this case is the Empress. The Empress is nurturing and caring, and potentially, a pregnant woman on a plush throne of pillows in this gorgeous forest and garden with rivers, and wheat being, wheat fully grown, ready to sow. And with that concept, the Three of Cups is sort of, that type of an emotional fulfillment. I think you will come to some sort of an agreement, and it will be worth celebrating. It's not an accident that the Three of Cups is associated with your victory. I think regardless of the swords that you have, going in your back and, through your mind, literally through, through your back, I think because this card here is placed next to it, these ideas, these thoughts that you're having are pointing directly towards some sort of celebration. And that celebration was earned. It's definitely earned. You paid your dues. I think now it is time when things sort of rebirth, if you will, celebrate. I kind of look at this card, and in my mind, I don't know why, it just is reminiscent of women dancing around the maypole. It's a festival, it's a celebration, it's welcoming in the new season, and also celebrating the close of a successful, even though it might not appear that way, of a successful past season, the closure of that. And then finally, that does bring us the Page of Wands, the bearer of good news, which is always good. This particular page is fun, he's happy, he's adventurous, he's, bearing a wand that is, fruitful, it is blossoming, it is some sort of new news of something good, if you will, a new adventure, a new passion that comes into your life. I don't necessarily see this as a person. In fact, I actually don't see any people being introduced here. I think most of this is all energies that you have. And while challenging and harsh energies with all the swords and the wands that are, again, I kind of talked about the three being with the Empress, and here you have the seven, which is the Chariot, and representing dualities and opposing forces. And here you are defending and being courageous toward the things that you believe and the ideas that you hold true to your heart. And that's a good thing. It might cause some disturbance, but ultimately it will be a good thing. If you fight for what you believe and you fight for what you feel you deserve, you will have a victory. But again, keep in mind, it's temporary victory. Might not carry over for the rest of your life. But with so many wands, it's such a passionate affair, just something that you just really care about. You're fighting for those things that are important to you and that matter to you in your life. Of course you're fighting, of course you're defending it, and of course you're going to be victorious, because you do come, things are brought to light. There is a genuine understanding of other people's points of view, your own internal point of view. Maybe you do change or come to some sort of consensus with someone. That's not necessarily, that type of card, but it is a new way of thinking. And that will ultimately be good and prove fruitful and happy and celebratory for you in the end. Whew, that was a really strong reading, my goodness. So now I'm going to pull an outcome card. And probably next month I'll have a better setup so you can actually see the cards while I'm talking about them. I apologize for the bad lighting here, just doing it in my living room. So see, and here the cards do not want to be shuffled. Okay. The outcome. General reading for Aries 2015 November. Okay. Do this one. Oh, see, this is a lovely card. The Six of Swords. Swords are tough. They're very complicated. They tear away at your soul. They're not an easy, energy to deal with. But this Six of Swords is indicative of a very peaceful journey. It's indicative of, a new spiritual path, from rough waters to smooth, glassy waters to fruitful and beautiful new terrain, a new environment. Sometimes it actually means an actual physical journey, a trip over water, a river or an ocean, or being somewhere near the water even. Which this is a very peaceful card. I think ultimately you have, you are surrounded by your thoughts, and those things do come with you, but more from a learning perspective and more from a growth perspective. And that is a wonderful, you came up from the 10 and the 9, which are, some of the highest cards that you can get for the swords, to a 6, which means your load is lightening. the swords do disappear, they do slowly fade away, and they do become less invasive to your life. And it's possible with the Page of Wands and your Three of Cups that you have received good news, or some sort of situation arises where you become a more peaceful person internally, and that's really something that gives you a new sense of direction, if you will. So that's the reading for you, Aries. General reading for November. That was a very interesting reading, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it somewhat useful, or somewhat inspirational for you, and helps you, to keep your mind sharp, which I don't think that's going to be a problem. You've got lots of that going on. But keep your mind sharp, keep your ears perked, and be aware of things that do present themselves and that do happen for you throughout the month. And sounds like might be a little bit of rough going for you. However, it does have a wonderful, peaceful ending. So thank you so much for watching. I am so thrilled to have you watching, and I'll see you next time.